Hello, and welcome to Adding an Involved Vehicle. The involvements form is used to document all of the various entities that are involved in an activity or incident, including people, other organizations, vehicles, and items. This training will focus specifically on involved vehicles. There is a possibility that the vehicle you are adding here does not already exist within your prospective system. So we'll add two vehicles, first looking at adding one that already does exist in your system, and then a second time adding a vehicle that does not exist in your system. Before we get too far into the training, please note that while we will be using the incident form here, this same process applies to adding involvements on activities as well. To add a new vehicle involvement, click the Add New link. In the window that opens, we can see the linked vehicle field. This is where we can either search for or create a new record. Many companies choose to make the linked vehicle field a required field, and by doing so, they have consistency in spelling, can help reduce accidental duplications, and most importantly, have the ability to maintain a history of that vehicle's involvement in all activities and incidents. There are a couple of ways to search for a vehicle here. The first, start typing the license plate of the vehicle directly into the field to display a list of records matching the characters you have typed. The more you type, the more refined this list will be, but be aware that this will only display the top 8 matches. We'll see a more global search option in our next example. If the correct license plate is displayed, go ahead and select it. Once selected, you'll notice the details will populate with information from this vehicle's general record that has been saved within your system. We'll come back to these details in just a minute. Next, we need to indicate this vehicle's involvement in this activity or incident. And if the vehicle driver has been identified, check the Driver Identified checkbox. This will unlock the vehicle driver field where you can then search for and select the individual or quick add them if they do not yet exist within your system. As well, you can identify the current disposition of this vehicle as it applies. In the details section, as mentioned earlier, we can see the details that have pulled in from this vehicle's general record. If any of these details need to be updated, you can add to or update this information as needed. But be mindful that this does not update the general record at the same time. This only changes the vehicle's details as they pertain to its involvement in this activity or incident. After completing this form, we will have an opportunity to update this general record. If finished, click OK to add this vehicle. As just mentioned, if you do have to update this vehicle's details, you may need or want to also update its general record. So once added, ensure the vehicle is selected, then click the Go To link. This will take you to that vehicle's record within the vehicle's data form, where you can edit the general record, ensuring that these updates carry forward should this vehicle be involved in any future activities or incidents. To return to the incident, click on Incidents in the navigation pane to go back to where we left off. Now let's go through this one more time, this time looking at how to add a vehicle that does not already have a record within your system. From the linked vehicle field, click on the green plus sign. This will allow for two options. One, it can be used for a more global search of your vehicle data forms. The previous method that we saw earlier only shows the top 8 matches. This search method would show you all records that you have access to. The second option from here is the Quick Add button that we see at the bottom of the window. Clicking this will open a new blank vehicle data form, which once completed will create a record that will be saved in your vehicle data forms that could be selected again in the future should it be involved in any later activities or incidents. Also, because this creates a new record that will be saved within your system, this process should be a last resort after exhausting all possible searches so as to avoid creating duplicate records within your system. One other consideration here is that the initial security settings of all records created within Perspective will mirror the settings of the user who created the record. Keep this in mind if you have higher security settings than the majority of other users, because if you do not set these settings appropriately, other users may not be able to see this record, hence another reason for possibly having duplicate records within your system. After completing the data entry of this new record, click the Save button to close this window and return back to the involvement form. You'll be able to see the details that you've just added in the details section below, and you can finish completing this involvement form in the same manner as we saw in our previous example.